And a warm welcome to everybody who's joining today's webcast on Is B2B Customer Database Integration Still a Dream or is it now a reality? I'm delighted to say that this webcast is brought to you and hosted by D&B, and there's a lot of very interesting new research that we're going to be sharing with you. So what am I going to be covering in today's webinar? Well, we're going to be talking about what is the dream, what does customer database integration and the single customer view of the customer mean in the B2B world today? Why is it increasingly important for B2B organisations to implement CRM? But actually, what's the reality? Where are we today? Where are business-to-business organisations who are facing the issue of customer database integration? And I'm really excited to introduce a new model which I think can genuinely help benchmark your organisation and understand where you are and how to move forwards. And we're going to try a live poll. I don't guarantee I'll get it right, but I'll try. And when we then move on to look at the key issues in achieving customer database integration, what I hope you'll take away from this webinar is some top tips really as to how to address these key issues. What I'm very excited about in my work as a consultant, independent consultant, is just how much is changing literally on a daily basis and this dynamic new world. And we're going to explore that and try and understand and give you an insight as to the big changes and what they mean to you. And then lastly, and very important for all of us, is how to go about getting your board to invest in the customer database and customer database integration, because I find with the very large companies, medium-sized companies and even small businesses, actually this is business critical. It's getting the board to understand what the business is going to get out of it going forward. So we've got quite a lot to cover, so I'll be going through at quite a pace, but hopefully, as Joel has already said, it is interactive. You can put your questions on using the button at the top of your page, so hopefully there'll be lots of questions that we can answer for you at the end. So, the dream. Maybe not quite the one that Martin Luther King had in his mind when he was thinking about integration, but actually it's something I've been talking and lecturing about customer data integration for the last 25 years. But I genuinely believe, whereas in the past it was perhaps a dream, we are facing now a real opportunity to make it a true reality and actually deliver real business benefits. Why is it perhaps being more complicated and a dream and not reality can be understood if we really take a look at our markets. Our B2B customers are complex organisations and actually not easy to understand and even map because they have large decision-making units across multiple sites, and I know many of you are actually dealing internationally as well. A recent Forrester report has actually highlighted there are increasing numbers of stakeholders involved in buying decisions. And they may not even be internal with the organisations that you're targeting, but maybe external people, consultants like myself. We've also got multiple buying channels. Many organisations are still removed from the final buyer. We don't know what people are actually spending with us. And another trend, and a really quite worrying one, is that of longer and longer sales cycles. Sales cycles have been estimated by Marketing Sherpa in a report last year that in fact that over 10% of business-to-business organisations now have a sales cycle longer than a year. And actually I was talking to somebody yesterday who sells email software, and rather scarily they said that they found that their average sales cycle is now 3 years from that initial inquiry to somebody signing off the cheque. And the reason for that, you'll be, I think, quite interesting, is that they're selling, in fact, into legal companies, so that maybe is why it takes extra long. We also have different behaviours to deal with in business to business. Our customers are changing. We've got the digital natives, not necessarily the 20-something, but we've got some digital natives who may be silver surfers as well. But we've also got to remember that we've got a lot of customers who are completely digitally naive and maybe even digitally disconnected. And we need to understand their behaviour, all of which means that we have real data challenges to address. And also the headache of disparate data sets held in functional silo systems. So my view is actually that we all do a pretty good job because business-to-business marketeers' life is a hard one. If we look at the business-to-business marketing challenges in a recent survey from Marketing Sherpa this year, they were looking at and saying, well, actually, what are we all focusing on this year? And I think it's really interesting to say that still, for most of us, generation of very well-qualified leads, 78% say that's our most important priority. Not just better qualified leads, but we need more of them. We need to keep that sales pipeline topped up. And interestingly, and I think for perhaps the first time it's popped up into the top 3, is this issue now of marketing in a longer sales cycle and how we keep leads warm and we use lead nurturing to actually move people through to the point they're ready to buy. So what does customer database integration promise? Why is it important? Well, really, I think the main reasons are it's the opportunity to work smarter, faster and better. And the reason being is that we all need to get much closer to our customers. It's a tough world, a tough trading environment, and the pressure is on all of us to deliver more. Real competitive advantage can be gained by getting a better utilisation of a company's data assets. In fact, another survey, this time by Aberdeen, showed that 20% more companies who'd invested in CRM were in the fast-track revenue quadrant compared with those who hadn't invested and were in the no-growth segment. So we as marketeers need to make more profit from better focused resource, less people, better processes, using the new technology that's available. What does smarter mean for us as marketeers? Well, yes, we know it means intelligent, targeted marketing, winning better business based on knowledge, reducing customer churn, increasing loyalty. But also marketing insight now allows you to segment both pricing, products, channels and media based on known and predicted customer behaviour. In fact, 81% of marketers say that they now use data to segment a campaign, and that was a survey that came out in March in Data Strategy and Marketing Week. In terms of acting faster, customer database integration linked with marketing automation allows more campaigns to get out the door based on individual customer journeys. We can literally do far more than we could in the past. I remember days of campaign production times taking maybe 4 months. We're now into 4 days. Better and a more efficient use of resource, the ability to match resource, especially sales and customer services, to tipping points. This is where I find many organisations that I'm working with are focusing their intelligence to really understand where somebody is in the buying cycle on the customer journey. Is that customer ready to buy, or are they just inquiring? And that to me is very exciting. We can now do that. The smarter, faster, better, I think is summed up very well in this quote from a marketing director who was interviewed in a recent Alturian survey on analytics. And he said, in uncertain market, it is imperative to intelligently use all the data available. Applied knowledge will be the difference between success and failure. And I think that's really what I spend a lot of my time trying to communicate to board directors, that actually this can give you real competitive advantage.